Thank you, everyone. Being 5 o'clock, I'm going to call the meeting to order. I'd like to remind everyone that we are on Treaty 6 land, the home of the Métis, and I'll ask everyone to rise and the city clerk to say the prayer, please.
O God, let us each in our own way ask your wisdom and guidance in our deliberations. Help us to incorporate into all our decisions those values which will enable us to fulfill our mission, to act as responsible stewards, and to respect and value the cultural and spiritual tradition of all citizens of the city of Prince Albert. For this we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Number 3. Just a minute. Okay. I'm going to move just one amendment, if you don't mind, and that's item 17.1. Councillor Zepp is ill and will not be at the meeting, so we'll amend the motion to move that to the next meeting. So then if I could have a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
Who's quick? Who's first?
She gets minutes. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to move that the agenda for this meeting be approved as amended, and that the presentations, delegations, and speakers listed on the agenda be heard when called forward by the mayor.
Thank you. Seconder? Oh, she can't be first. She shuts her lights off. Yeah, it is. Councillor Gilmer.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll second it.
Thank you. I'll prompt the question. Questions now open and carried. Thank you. Presentations, we have none. Number 5, declaration of conflict of interest. You all know what that is. If you have a conflict of interest, you have to declare it at the time and then excuse yourself. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to have to declare a conflict of interest on item number 11.14, as my employer is CUPE, and it's to deal with collective bargaining.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Okay, hearing none, I'll move on to number 6, adoption of the minutes from November 27th. Councillor Miller.
Thanks, Mayor Dion. That the minutes of the regular meeting held November 27th be taken, read, and adopted.
Thank you. Councillor Solomon.
Worship, I'll second that.
Thank you. I'll prompt the question. Questions now open and carried. Notice of proclamations, I had none in the last 2 weeks. Public hearings, we have none. Delegations, we have none. Communications, we have none. Number 11, reports of administrations and committees. 11.1, 2023 New Year's Eve bus service, ride free. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to move that the letter of agreement between the city and Saskatchewan Government Insurance to provide the 2023 New Year's Eve bus service program be approved, and 2, that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the letter of agreement and any other documents on behalf of the city. And I have a comment if I get a second.
Yes, thank you. Councillor Gilmer.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll second that.
Thank you. Back to you, Councillor Head.
Again, thanks again, Your Worship. I just want to make a comment that this is a great program that we see within our city. It ensures people get a safe ride home, and I really encourage people, if needed, to enjoy the bus services on that day and to ensure that they get a safe ride home. I see over the years it's been well utilized, and so it's great that we're passing this motion today.
Yeah, and again, I echo to you too that I hope they do utilize the service. There's red nose, there's taxis, there's phone a friend. There's all kinds of reasons not to drink and drive. And I just want to thank SGI because this sort of just fits into the package. So thank you with that. Yeah, it's a free night. So I'll prompt that question. The question's now open. And carried. Thank you. 11.2, tender. We're all reading the word. Oh, the teacher. All right, and the principal. She's going to take it on.
Yeah, thank you. I move that the portion of tender number 50 of 5023 for the supply and delivery of polyaluminum chloride for the 2024 water purification materials be awarded to Clearwater Equipment and Technologies in the amount of $621,600 plus goods and services tax for a total of $652,680, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute any applicable documents on behalf of the city if required.
Thank you. Councilor Miller?
I'll second Mayor Dion.
Thank you. Just give me a minute. Okay. I just made a minor correction. Nope. Nope. I just spotted that. That's why I did. So all we did was change the date from 50 to 20. Okay, I'll prompt the question. Question's now open and carried. 11.3, ATM Supply and Service Agreement. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to move that the automated teller machine supply and service agreement be awarded to Saskatchewan Ltd. Next Cash ATM Solutions for the ATM services at the city facilities for a term from September 1st to 2023 to August 31st, 2025, and that the automated teller machine supplier pay to the city 50 cents per ATM transaction for the term of the agreement, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the city.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Edwards.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? I see, oh, Councillor Solomon.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just have a question through to the director. I see in the report that formerly the charge was $1.75 per transaction. It's gone down to 50 cents. And I'm just curious as to why that might have happened. So.
Director of Community Services.
Thank you, Mayor Dion, to Councillor Solomon's inquiry. So in this situation, what we've experienced over the past 5 years is our actual transactions decreasing by 70% at our ATMs. The service levels at some of our locations now give a lot of cashless options, and therefore we've been seeing a reduction at the ATMs. That was one of the main comments back from the vendor, recognizing that decrease, therefore the decrease in the revenue sharing in order for their share to be maintained.
No. No. Follow up, Councillor Solomon.
Thank you for the answer, and I certainly think that makes sense. I just think the revenue to the city has also gone down substantially, but if I understand there was only one bidder on this particular tender, so I will support this motion.
Yeah, and if I understand, it's for 1 year, 2 years. So we can review it whether we need the service. Okay, any other questions? Seeing none in the queue, I'll prompt the question. Question's now open and carried. 11.4, Cook Municipal Golf Course Management Agreement. Councillor Brodnick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move that the golf course management agreement between the city and Darcy's Golf Shop Limited be approved for a 3-year term commencing January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2026, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the city of Prince Albert.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Cody,
Yes, I will second that, Your Worship.
thank you. Any comments? I see no one in the queue. So we'll just keep on going. It is now open and carried. Thank you. $11.5 capital projects update. Councillor Edwards.
I'll move that RPT 23-428 be received as information and filed.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Solomon.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Thank you. Any questions? I see no one in the queue. I'll prompt the question. Questions now open and carried. Thank you. 11.6 financial reporting third quarter. Councillor Kilmer.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll move that report number 23, 425 be received as information and filed.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Bodnar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll second that motion.
Okay. Any questions? I see no one in the queue. Oh. Oh. No problem. Councillor Kilmer.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to applaud financial services and the work done in IT. This report clearly shows that the work done with the work done to change the, I'm using the wrong terms, but produce the different information or the technology. It provides a really clear and concise report and on time. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your comments. So let me prompt the question. Questions now open. And carried. Okay, here we go with a bunch of them now. 11.7, 2024 General Fund. Councillor Kilmer.
Thank you. I'll move that the 2024 general fund budget be approved, that $48,672,456 of the revenue necessary to balance the general fund operating budget be raised from the municipal taxation, from municipal taxation, that the 2024 general fund capital budget in the amount of $6,822,920, including principal payments on loans, and $338,800 in police capital be approved, that the 2024 transfer of $5,115,000 from the general fund operating to general fund capital be approved for capital projects excluding long-term debt payments, that the 2024 fleet budget in the amount of $601,500, including $371,000 in police service requirements, be approved, that the 2024 Prince Albert Police Service be funded in the amount of $19,095,963, which includes a budget reduction of $759,264, including a $338,800 in capital expenditures and the police base tax, that the 2024 reserve allocations of $3,468,700 and the principal payments on loans of $289,600 be approved for a total amount of $3,758,300, that the following reserve be established, that a municipal cultural action plan reserve be established to fund initiatives outlined in the municipal cultural action plan, and that a recreation center reserve be established for the funding of the Prince Albert Recreation Center project, that the motions from the 2024 General Fund Budget Committee deliberations be ratified, and that the administration proceed as authorized, and that the 2024 general fund budgeted expenditures be approved for disbursement effective January 1st, 2024.
Cool. Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Edwards?
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Thank you. Any comments?
I have some comments.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. So I will be supporting the budget. We spent lots of days trying to find some savings, and we know it's a pretty bare bones savings, our overall budget. It didn't add services, but we didn't reduce services, which I think is important. I think we need the services that we have in our city. But I do want to touch base on some of the budget, and
Go ahead.
that is the impacts that homelessness, crime, and other social issues had on this budget. And we know from discussions during budget deliberations that added garbage cleanup, extra security, and items like that are costing almost $1 million of this budget. That doesn't include the policing that is required, but it does include some of the takedowns of encampments. It's important to note, I just heard on the Evan Bray show, former police chief of Regina, discussing municipalities, that it's a slippery slope to get involved in funding social issues. And we are. So I hope that other levels of government note that the residents and the businesses of our city are being impacted by paying for something that other levels of government need to manage better. So I needed to point that out. Lots of people already understand it. I know that. But the residents and businesses are paying, I would suggest it's going to be around $2 million of this budget when you add in the police effects of everything and the added duties of our staff. And that's a large amount. That is, well, 6% mill rate or more. That's substantial. So I hope that the provincial government and the federal government can take note and understand that we need some assistance with this. We can't rely on our residents and businesses to pay this tab. It's not sustainable, and we need that assistance.
Councillor Head?
Thank you, Your Worship, and thanks, Councillor Edwards, for those comments. I guess I would add a little bit to that, and echo some of that. We did spend quite a bit of time going through this budget very diligently, line by line, to find savings for the residents here in Prince Albert. And this is where we landed here without cutting services, because that was the question we asked. What are some of the areas we can save money in? Should we be looking at cutting services? The residents, and looking at what the asks are, some of the feedback from the residents, we expect these services to maintain. We expect to continue on these operations as we do year after year, and so that wasn't an option. So looking at where we landed, I am supporting this budget. I'll say that. I'll stop there, I guess. I do feel that it was a difficult, challenging budget in my fourth one that I got to experience, and definitely one of the most challenging ones yet. But here we are today, and I will be supporting where the final dollar amount is. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll prompt the question. Question is now open. And carried. Thank you. 11.8, 2024 Water Utility Operating and Capital Budget. Councillor Edwards.
I'll move that the 2024 Water Utility Fund operating budget be approved as follows. A, operating revenues of $19,766,455. B, operating expenses of $14,205,530. C, capital and interfund transactions of $6,005,530. And a D, a deficit of $444,605 after adjusting for non-cash amortization. The surplus of $5,305,395 to fund capital projects and loan principal payments. 2, that the 2024 Water Utility Fund capital expenditures of $2,675,000 and loan principal payments of $1,834,425 be approved. 3, that the motions from the 2024 Water Utility Fund Budget Committee deliberations be ratified and that administration proceed as authorized. And 4, that the 2024 Water Utility Fund budget expenditures be approved for disbursement effective January 1st, 2024.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Cody?
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Thank you. Now prompt the question. Questions now open and carried. 11.9, 2024 Sanitation Operating and Capital Budget. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to move that the 2024 Sanitation Fund operating budget be approved as follows. A, operating revenues of $6,198,650. B, operating expenses of $4,949,555. C, capital and interfund transfers of $1,322,710. And D, a deficit of $73,615. After adjusting for non-cash amortization, the surplus is $916,385 to fund capital projects and reserve transfers. 2, that the 2024 Sanitation Fund capital expenditures of $561,420 be approved. 3, that the motions from 2024 Sanitation Fund Budget Committee deliberations be ratified and that the administration proceed as authorized. And 4, that the 2024 Sanitation Fund budgeted expenditures be approved for disbursement effective January 1st, 2024.
Thank you. Seconder?
I'll second, Mayor Dion.
Thank you. I see no one in the queue. So I'll prompt the question. Questions now open and carried. Thank you. 11.10, 2024 Airport Fund Operating and Capital Budget. Ooh, sorry. Councillor Cody.
Yes, Your Worship. I will move that the 2024 Airport Fund operating budget be approved as follows. A, operating revenues of $1,044,160, and B, operating expenses of $1,184,570, and C, capital interfund transfers of $360,140, and a deficit of $500,550. After adjusting non-cash amortization, there is a surplus of $244,450 to fund capital projects and reserve transfers. And 2, that the 2024 Airport Fund capital expenditures of $625,375 be approved. And 3, that the motions from the 2024 Airport Fund Budget Committee deliberations be ratified, that administration proceed as authorized. And number 4, that the 2024 Airport Fund budgeted expenditures be approved for distribution effective January 1st, 2024.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Solomon.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Thank you. I'll prompt the question. Questions now open. And carried. 2024 Airport, I did that, sorry. 11.11, 2024 Land fund operating and capital budget. Councillor Edwards.
I'll move that the 2024 Land Fund operating budget be approved as follows. A, operating revenues of $485,000. B, operating expenses of $274,607. C, capital and interfund transactions of $76,500. And D, an operating surplus of $133,893 to fund capital projects, loan principal payments, and reserve transfers. 2, that the 2024 Land Fund capital expenditures of $0 and loan payments of $303,305 be approved. 3, that the motions from the 2024 Land Fund Committee deliberations be ratified and administration proceed as authorized. 4, that the approved 2024 Land Fund budget expenditures be approved for disbursement effective January 1st, 2024.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll second that.
Thank you. I'll prompt the question. Questions now open and carried. 11:12, tax title tender results. Councillor Kilmer.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I'll move that the offer to purchase the tax title property located at 163 29th Street East in the amount of $25,000 plus goods and services tax be denied, that administration prepare and list 163 29th Street East for sale on the open market, that the offer to purchase the tax title property located at 1610 15th Street West in the amount of $15,000 plus goods and services tax be approved, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the sale agreements and any other documents on behalf of the city.
Councillor Miller.
I'll second Mayor Dion.
Thank you very much. Okay. It's now open. And carried. Thank you. 11.13, agreement to provide fire services, the RM of Prince Albert. Councillor Brodnick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move that the agreement to provide fire services between the city and the rural municipality of Prince Albert number 461 regarding the provision of fire suppression services with respect to fires occurring within the existing boundaries of the RM for the term January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2024 be approved. And 2, that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the agreement and other applicable documents on behalf of the city.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Cody.
Sure, I'll second that. Your
Thank
Worship.
you. I see no one in the queue, so I'll prompt the question. Questions now open and carried. Okay. 11.14, memorandum of agreement, bargaining unit QP 882. Excuse me. Councillor Zapp.
I am at this time not declaring a conflict of interest.
You're not?
I'm not.
Okay. Stand by.
Me?
Okay, I'm just going to call a quick 2-minute recess, and I require the city clerk and the city solicitor to meet me in the lounge, please. Okay, I'm on item 11.14. Councillor Kilmer.
Thank you. I'm going to move that the memorandum of agreement between the city and the Canadian Union of Public Employees, local number 882, be approved, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the city.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Miller?
I'll second.
Thank
Mayor
you.
Dion.
Okay, Councillor Lennox Zapp. I have an independent legal opinion that you're in a conflict of interest, and I'm going to ask you again if you're going to honor that independent decision, or are you going to decide to stay in the room and jeopardize your position? Councillor Zapp.
Thank you, Mayor, for the question. So I have received legal advice that I am not in any conflict of interest. My spouse was the QP rep bargaining at the onset of bargaining and has now been no longer on Local 882 as the bargaining rep for quite some time. The Cities Act, Section 114, lays out our requirements as conflict of interest if there is any favorable opportunity for interest for myself or family member, and so I am intending on the basis of my legal advice to stay on this file. However, of course, as an ongoing basis, we all have an obligation to assess each vote individually if we are indeed in a conflict of interest or not. If my spouse, when my spouse is an active member on the file, then I have been and continue to do so properly recuse myself.
Okay. All I can say is govern yourself accordingly and prepare for the action. Okay, thank you. Any other comments? I'll prepare the question. Questions now open. And carried. Thank you. Item 11.15, municipal revenue sharing.
Oh, just a minute, Councillor.
Oh, sorry. Uh, 11.15, municipal revenue sharing declaration. Councillor Solomon.
I'll move that the City of Prince Albert meets the following eligibility requirements to receive a municipal revenue sharing grant. A, submission of the 2022 audited financial statements of the Ministry of Government Relations. B, submission of 2022 public reporting on municipal waterworks to the Ministry of Government Relations. C, in good standing with respect to the reporting and remittance of education property taxes. D, adoption of procedure bylaw number 23 of 2021. E, adoption of the following employee policies that represent the employee code of conduct. Conflict of interest policy. 2, gift favors and entertainment policy. 3, employment relatives policy. 4, occupational health and safety policy. Harassment safety administrative policy. 5, progressive discipline policy. 6, social media relations and public statements policy. And 7, access to information policy. And F, all members of council have filed their public disclosure statements as required. And 2, that the city clerk be authorized to exclude that declaration of eligibility and submit it to the Ministry of Government Relations.
Okay, seconder. Councillor Kilmer.
Thank you. I'll second it.
Thank you. Prompt the question. Questions now open and carried. Unfinished business? Have none? No unfinished business. Number 12, Mayor and Councilors Forum. Councillor Kilmer.
Thank you very much. Just a few thank yous in regard to the Christmas tree lighting, the first annual Christmas tree lighting event that happened last Tuesday. It was a tremendous success. I'd like to thank Bolac, Marianne Turcott from Bolac Funeral Homes for committing to 5 years and providing the 8,000 lights with more to come, she says. Our City Parks Department, the Building Maintenance Department, our commissionaires, the Raiders, the Mintos, the Man Northern Bears, the Timberjacks for coming out and handing out candy canes, the Ukrainian newcomers for making the hot chocolate, and there was one newcomer in particular that she's new to being a newcomer, and she made these beautiful little heart sugar cookies to give out, probably 400 of them. It was really remarkable. Thank you to the PA Children's Choir, PA Bid for bringing in the River North Ranch horses. He stayed well past 8 o'clock just to make sure that the huge lineup of kids who have never ridden in or may have, but got their ride around the block, and of course the Grinch. So thank you to everyone that came. It looked like there was about 900 to 1,000 people, and the families it was nothing but smiles and really beautiful weather. So thank you very much to everyone involved.
Thank you. And I forgot to mention right at the end, I'm going to give everyone an opportunity to bring season's greetings because this is our last meeting. Okay, anyone else under Mayor's Forum? Councillor Brodnick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to thank my colleagues on council and administration and the public for the support over the last month while I was sick. I did miss budget deliberations, and I wish I was here for that, but unfortunately I wasn't able to. Second thing I want to mention is I want to thank Councillor Edwards for bringing forward that close to $1 million is spent on social issues. And we should, not only City of Prince Albert, but I think SUMA should remind the provincial government that they get really upset when the federal government puts their nose into provincial affairs, specifically, I think it's Section 92 of the Constitution Act. They get really upset with when the provincial government does that. We should also just say, you know what, Mr. Premier, we kindly are abiding by your wishes, and we don't want to impede on provincial responsibilities. And so therefore, take care of these issues that the Constitution clearly outlines is your responsibility and not municipalities' responsibilities. So just I thought that is something that we should bring up at SUMA and just let the residents of Prince Albert know that this is maybe what we should start doing and save $1 million by having that level of government do their job that's outlined in the Constitution. It's not our job. It's clearly outlined in the Cities Act what our responsibilities are. And Councillor Edwards reminded me of that tonight. And maybe I should have spoke at that at the budget time when we had that discussion, but I thought in Mayor and Councillors Forum this would be my opportunity. So thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm moving on to number 14, inquiries. Councillor Kilmer.
Thank you. I have one to the Director of Public Works. Is it possible to create a report of the total cost of the work done on 5th Avenue East from 24th Street to 28th? I'm just interested in the total cost, as well as the time frame for developing and planning that work from the time it began to when it was completed. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other inquiries? Okay, hearing none. Number 15, inquiry responses, November 27th. Councillor Edwards.
Thank you. I just have one concern on here.
I have to get it moved and then I'll ask for discussion.
Oh, yeah.
I have to
okay,
get a
well,
mover and a seconder.
I'll move.
Okay, seconder, Councillor Head. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And just one small concern, I know it's been rectified, but just for the record, the no parking. I did an inquiry that possibly we could get a no parking sign on Bliss, and the response was, we'll talk about it January 22nd. That was a concern of mine because it was a snow removal issue. So I wouldn't mind some comments maybe from the director.
Okay. Director of Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor. Through to Councillor Edwards' inquiry. Yes, I do apologize. We didn't get that we didn't get that answer back in time for the producing of the council agenda. However, the transportation and traffic manager has looked at this item, and he is recommending that we add a no parking zone from the loading zone to the north to the entrance of the property.
Okay, I really appreciate that response. I was shaking my head a little bit about the January 22nd, but that's good. So we don't have further concerns about the south side of that apartment?
Thank you for the follow-up. So the way I would proceed with that is I think we would probably watch to see how the snow accumulates with respect to traffic. Certainly if you're seeing any concerns, if you report those through, we'd be able to take a look at them right away.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Okay. Oh. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thanks to the administration for providing these responses. I do have a little bit of follow-up for inquiry 2324. That's the outcome of the update with the homeless forum that was held on November 1st. Now, you talk about there was a plan to move forward, but there isn't any dates or any consideration of where the next meeting will be or what the next steps will be, I guess. Any?
Oh. Yes, we've asked the Grand Council for minutes for the meeting. They took minutes. It was their meeting. So I have written them and asked them for minutes, and as soon as I get them, they were just in Ottawa at the vote. They get me the minutes, I'll circulate them to all members of council.
Do they have any? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Do they have any plans to meet again with the groups within Prince Albert as well?
In the new year, yes.
The new year, okay.
Yes.
Do you don't have a date though? yet?
No, we didn't have a date.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Oh, I better prompt the question. Questions now open. And carried. Okay. Motions. Unfortunately, Councillor Zapp. Oh, sorry. Notice of motions. Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Your Worship, and bear with me. It's fairly long-winded. I should have probably forwarded it in, but you'll get it sooner or later here.
And it's for next meeting, correct?
It is for
Okay,
next
thank
meeting.
you.
I thought about considering it for this meeting, but for next meeting.
Okay. good.
Okay, so notice of motion. I move that a letter be written from the mayor's office to both the provincial Sass Party and the federal Liberals to have an in-person meeting with all members of council, Grand Chief Brian Hardlot and Sherry McLennan of the local Métis Nation to discuss the following: financial impacts and overall well-being of the city of Prince Albert, including crime statistics due to increasing homelessness, crime, and other social issues occurring in our city. This letter will include that our city is in urgent need for support over these issues and must be addressed. This letter will also include information that our city is made up of over 40% Indigenous population, and that only includes the amount of people that filled out their census. Letter will also include costs associated with homelessness, crime, and other social issues that are included in the 2024 municipal budget, and that these issues are a regional issue that should not fall on the businesses and residents of the city of Prince Albert, and that these costs are not sustainable for our community. Also included in this letter will be the need for a drug court and treatment beds to address the requirements for possible sanctions that this court offers. The discussions must include how we are going to manage the rise of violent crime and how to address the increasing property crime, and action plans must be put in place to assist the mental health and addictions issues our city faces today. As this is an urgent request, we will need to specify that we would like to meet prior to the end of 2024. Oh, sorry.
March.
What did I say?
2024. March
The end of
24.
March 2024. That's my motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, we will.
Notices?
Yeah, and that we can definitely email this.
Yeah, send them to you. Okay, now the motions. Now, Councillor Zapp, we already moved yours at agenda review. That's fine. I appreciate that. Okay, so you'll be in the next meeting. 17.2, motion from Councillor Head, incentives for boarded up houses. Oh, I'm reading.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, no, I'm going to move that administration provide a report to incentivize property owners to make improvements to boarded up buildings and houses. And if I get a seconder, I'd like to speak on that a little bit.
Thank you. Councillor Miller?
Absolutely, Mayor Dion, I'll second that.
And Merry Christmas. Go ahead, Councillor Head.
Thank you, Worship. As I mentioned last City Council meeting, we have incentives for new homeowners. We have incentives for vacant lots. We have some incentives for some rental costs as well. What we're missing and what we're lacking would be, what are we going to do with our boarded up properties in our communities, in our neighborhoods? And so more often these days I get calls from residents saying, well, I live next door to this boarded up property. There's no plan from the property owner to make changes, to make fixes. They're not tearing it down, so it sits there as an eyesore with boards on the windows, you know, eaves falling off. And so I thought, and I don't have a plan. I don't have here's what we need to do. But I know we look to other communities and other areas about what they're doing and maybe what successes they're having. So my hopes are, if we were to come up with a plan we can implement, that we can actually utilize in our community to help with some of these problem areas. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Miller.
Yes, I also have comments about
Go
the
ahead.
situation. For example, from 20th Avenue to, I'll say 2nd Avenue, and from 18th Street to River Street, there's about 40 boarded up houses. And it's very frustrating. And, it's just, and I know it's not in just Councillor Zepp's and I's ward, but it's all over the city. And the more we can take care of the situation, I think the faster the better, and deal with it appropriately.
Thank you very much. Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to support the motion. I think it's important. As you said, there is a ton of boarded up houses in the city, but this is a big report for sure, because there's reasons behind the boarded up houses, and a lot of times it's because they've been destroyed inside and need massive repairs. And I don't know how we get down to the root cause of that, but often these landlords are faced with difficult decisions to evict or deal with the houses that continue to get destroyed. So, and then once you evict people, they move on to the next house and often destroy that next one. And then we add more boarded up houses, and that's an issue. And I don't know whether there's a possibility of finding a list of individuals who continue to destroy these homes, but maybe that's something that we could include as an opportunity to have the landlord share names with each other or with the city, and we have a list of these individuals who continue to destroy house after house after house. Thank you.
Councillor Brodnick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree with this motion as well. I'll support it. And I think one incentive, and I brought it up once before, that would really help is that that whatever their taxes is, like at the current taxes, that once they make the improvements, because once you improve your property, your taxes automatically go up. So that, I think it's Sacramento or San Jose, I can't remember which city in California, what they did is they said for a 5-year period, your taxes will remain at that tax rate that house was at before you started these improvements. And that gives the incentive, a huge incentive. I don't know if that's legal here or if we can do that. Our tax lady, our genius is gone, but I'm sure the tax department here or finance department here would know whether this is legal or not. But that would give a huge incentive to these landlords to know that for 5 years their taxes are going to be the same. They're not going to be going up as you do. Like when I built a garage, my taxes went up, $250 or $300 a year when I added that value to my property. And so I could understand why a landlord that has these many houses leaves them like this, because once you improve it, their taxes are going to go up, and then of course the rent or what have you is going to go up. So if we could leave it for a period of 5 years, and hopefully they sell it to somebody that wants to live there and make a home, and that would be, in my opinion, improving the neighborhood, as what Councillor Miller mentioned. It's predominantly in your ward that you were talking about, 40 houses in that, and between your ward and Councillor Lennox Zepp's part of her ward as well, I guess. There are these homes, and that would really help the neighborhoods, improving the in neighborhoods. So that would be one suggestion as an incentive for administration maybe to look into that if that's possible. I don't know if it is or not, but I think it would really be a good idea and really help. So thank you.
Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mayor Dion. And just to add a little bit, before reopening a house for the landlords, I do believe the city does have housing standards that they have to follow. And before reopening, I believe that every house should be inspected.
I agree with that statement. Okay, and I'm glad this is one that has lots of options, and right out the track, I'm going to think that maybe we could do it the same way with the vacant lots. We add a special tax to it, and then we use that tax money to incentivize people to fix up their homes. But I too will be supporting this, so I'll call the question. Question's now open and carried. Thank you, and we have no one registered for public forum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Ward 1 and just go around the room. This is our last meeting of the year. If you'd like to wish your constituencies a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Councillor Miller. Oh. Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mayor Dion. I'd like to wish everybody happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everyone.
Councillor Zepp.
I too would like to say happy holidays of all the very many holidays that our beautiful city enjoys and celebrates to Ward 2 and all across our city. Have a safe holiday season and we appreciate you.
Thank you. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Worship. No, I too want to wish everybody of the city of Prince Albert a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and especially to the residents in Ward 3, my favorite ward, goes out to very Merry Christmas to them all.
You're not getting a TV. Councillor
Very good.
Cody.
Thank you very much, and I too wish to say a Merry Christmas to all of you folks and to all of the residents of the city of Prince Albert and the surrounding areas as well. This is the time of year when we can say a few thank yous to people, our neighbors,
Yes.
our less vulnerable people. If you have an opportunity, go out and help them a little bit. They have a hard time, and it's nice to, at Christmas time, just give that extra helping hand to those who can't help themselves as well as we can. We're very fortunate people here, but some are not quite as fortunate as we are. Take them a gift or take them a sandwich or do something, but as long as we do something that I think lends itself to the Christmas season. So Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I hope 2024 is as good as 23 or even better.
Thank you. Councillor Brodnick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Like the others, I'll wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, a safe holiday. I agree. Ward 3 was a great ward. That's where I grew up. It is a great ward, and I know Leanne is out there. She was next door neighbors, and we had a great neighborhood of great place to grow up. And then once I grew up, I realized that Ward 5 is better. And so that is my favorite ward right now. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. And to QP882 here, who's here too, a Happy New Year and Merry Christmas and safe holiday to all of you. And hopefully it'll be a great new year. I'm hoping and praying that it will be. Thank you.
Councillor Edwards.
Thank you very much. I too wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Everybody in this room, to all their families. It's a time to certainly reflect on the year and move forward to a positive 2024. Looking very forward to it. So to all my colleagues, I really appreciate working with all you, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Councillor Kilmer.
Thank you very much. I too want to wish everyone the best of the holiday season, and that everyone affords their neighbor, their friend, the space and grace to take a listen to what they have to say, because that's the most important thing that we can do for people, is to lend an ear and a true ear with our kind hearts. Our city of Prince Albert is so fortunate to have everyone that calls Prince Albert home. So to everyone in Prince Albert, all of our administration, 882-160, everyone that makes us us, thank you and all the best.
Councillor Solomon.
Thank you. On behalf of myself and my family, I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. It's been an interesting learning curve for me, and I'd just like to thank everybody in the room for bearing with me as we've got through a few things, and I look forward to 2024 and a better time. So, thank you.
Well, thanks. So in closing, I'm just going to add a few more things. Of course, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. But I also want to remind everyone, we all want you to come home over the holiday season. So as we talked about before, you can take a bus, you have Red Nose, there's all kinds of options because we do want to see you come home. And we want to remind you that, of course, Christmas and holidays are coming. That's when we're going to get the snowstorm, when we travel. So we want to be safe. But I also want to reach out during the Christmas season and thank the people that actually work on Christmas Day. Quite a few of us don't, but quite a few of us do. The staff at the hospital, our home care homes, our police, our fire. And even though we're at home and enjoying things, I'd like you just to say a little prayer that they keep safe and thank them for the job that they do. Because they're going to be out there making sure that everyone else is taken care of during the holiday season. So with that, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and be safe and come home. And with that, Councillor Kilmer. I move to adjourn. All in favor? Carried. Oh, seconder. Thank you. And I'd like to remind council to